guys, welcome back to my channel. It's your boy Runner here, and I'm back with another video. So in this video, I'll be going over an article coming from Fox Weather, and it's called the headline reads, Warm Waters and Potential Super El Nino Could Supercharge Start to Eastern Pacific Hurricane Season. Now, I would say one thing, we are less than 1 month away from hurricane season. It runs from June 1st to November 30th, almost every year. We could see hurricanes on a really active season go starting in June, but for the most part, it really happens into the fall months. And then also, we could still see hurricanes after November 30th. But we are, as most sources been saying, we're going to have either below average to near normal hurricane season for the Atlantic. But again, it just takes one hurricane that can cause a lot of damage, or a high-end tropical storm. Regardless, actually, a tropical storm, no matter if it's a high-end one or not, it can still cause flooding, strong winds, and all that other stuff. So the article reads, Climate Prediction Center has highlighted an area off the southern coast of Mexico for potential tropical development with a little more than 2 weeks before the start of hurricane season in the eastern Pacific. This comes with the El Nino climate pattern forecast to develop sometime this summer, which is expected to increase the number of named storms in the basin. And then it also reads, the CPC said a tropical system could develop off the coast of Mexico between May 13th and May 19th. According to the Fox Forecast Center, sea surface temperatures are running slightly above average, with some localized regions reaching the upper 80s. These conditions are already roughly 2 to 3 degrees above average for and more than sufficient to support tropical development. Typically, tropical cyclones form over waters that are above 80 degrees. While this timing isn't unusual, the first named storm generally forms in the eastern Pacific around June 10th. The combination of waters already above average and the developing El Nino suggests that this could be the start of a supercharged hurricane season in the basin. In fact, warm water temperatures in the Pacific greatly enhanced super typhoon Syncol early this month. Don't know how to pronounce that word. It seemed Asian a little bit. Yeah, it seemed like an Asian word. But Sinlaku slammed into the U.S. territory off the northern Mariana Islands in the Western Pacific, with winds speeds approaching 200 miles per hour, and that looked like a satellite image right there. Look at the eye of that storm. That is a well-organized eye right there. But the article continues to read. Wait, was that the end of the article? Yeah, according to Fox Forecast Center, the El Nino greatly generally suppresses tropical activity in the Atlantic Basin. The warmer sea surface temperatures provide more fuel for tropical storms and hurricanes and to develop in the Pacific. So we see they have it highlighted right here. More hurricanes due to warm ocean temperatures for the Pacific, the entire Pacific. So we're gonna have to watch out for California, Oregon, Washington State, Hawaii definitely. For the Atlantic side and into the Gulf, fewer hurricanes due to hostile upper winds. So it seems like the Atlantic and the Gulf is gonna be much cooler, which I would say we have been seeing a cool off. So I mean, it's gonna be hot this summer regardless. But I don't think the eastern half of the United States is gonna be extremely like feeling like 115, 120 degrees versus the previous summers that we had. So it seemed like the West Coast is going to be pretty active this hurricane season. Now, still, we can see a tropical storm impact Florida, Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina, Virginia, up north, including the Gulf too. We can see Texas, Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama. We can see any tropical storms or hurricanes form there, but it's going to be most likely more of the attention going to be on the Pacific. Now, again, it just takes one hurricane, one tropical storm, no matter the category or the strength, to cause major damage. And especially folks down there in Florida, you guys are prone to that as well. Let's see. I think I already read that part. Yes, I already read that part right there. In addition, El Nino also generally encourage warm air to rise rapidly in the eastern Pacific, which creates the clouds and thunderstorms necessary to seed a hurricane or other tropical cyclone. On average, the eastern Pacific basin sees 15 named storms, 8 hurricanes, and 4 major hurricanes, category 3 plus. Those averages were significantly higher during El Nino years, which produced 17 named storms, 9 hurricanes, and 5 major hurricanes. The forecast center noted that while exact timing of when El Nino develops is important, even moderate El Nino years have above average tropical activity. In fact, experts believe this El Nino could significantly outpace the average event. Computer models from both NOAA and Columbia's International Research Institute suggest a super El Nino may be on the horizon, which could serve to further supercharge storm activity across the Eastern Pacific. Eastern Pacific hurricane season begins May 15th, runs through May 30th. So the eastern side of the United States, well, Eastern Pacific, their hurricane season starts May 15th. That's coming up quick. So the Atlantic side starts June 1st. So I mean, we slightly later, but I mean, still, we can still see a hurricane before then. But regardless, the point is the Pacific is going to most likely have a higher chance of seeing tropical development, whether it's a tropical storm or a hurricane. The Atlantic going to still see some tropical activity. It might not form too close to the United States. We still could see a landfall for Georgia. Florida. Either it's going to ride up the Atlantic, going more inland into the United States, or it's going to go across Florida into the Gulf. But luckily, it shouldn't be rapid strength. If let's say its form is off the coast of the United States, let's say off the coast of Florida, if it forms there, the water shouldn't be as hot or as warm as the Pacific should, so it shouldn't intensify extremely quick into a catastrophic hurricane, impacting Jacksonville, Florida, Orlando, Florida. Daytona Beach, I think that's in Florida, Fort Lauderdale, Miami, and shit, or Tampa. Regardless, if we have one in Tampa, same way. Well, in the Gulf, if we have a hurricane form in the Gulf side of the United States, and it goes over Florida into the Atlantic, the waters are still cool, so it shouldn't strengthen as much. If something changes, but it shouldn't strengthen as much if it decides to go east like Hurricane Debbie did. I think it was Hurricane Debbie that impacted the western part of Florida, went across the state into the Atlantic, and then it stalled off the coast of Georgia and Florida for a good bit, bringing a heavy rainfall, and then eventually working its way up to South Carolina and North Carolina, and then working its way inland. So regardless, that's the end of the article, and this comes from Fox Weather. Now, multiple other sources also been reporting that this could happen. We see a more active hurricane season for the Pacific, and a less active one for the Atlantic. So that is a good thing for Florida can really take a break. Because if I'm not mistaken, last year I didn't recall one hurricane hit the United States. It probably grazed it, probably with some rain, maybe some wind here and there. But for the most part, I did not hear one landfall hit the eastern half of the United States. So I mean, could we hold that? Could we start a streak and go this year without having a landfall for the eastern part of the United States? Because if that happens, I know Florida is gonna be lucky. 2 years in a row, for like what 2 winters in a row or 3 winters in a row, parts of Florida seeing snow. So I mean, seeing snow in Florida, I mean that's crazy. So yeah, that's just crazy. So with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Hit the notification bell to be notified each and every time your boy upload a new video. And I'll see you guys in the next one if it's God's will. Again, I'll be tracking this upcoming hurricane season, which the Pacific starts May 15th. Eastern Pacific hurricane season starts May 15th, runs through November 30th. And I think the hurricane season for the Atlantic side starts June 1st and runs to November 30th, which still could have tropical activity beforehand and after. But regardless, the main point of this was the Atlantic going to have to be still watched, but Pacific is going to have a higher chance of seeing tropical development versus the Atlantic. And that's kind of a good thing for the Atlantic side, to give, again, Florida a break, Georgia a break from seeing any tropical storms or hurricanes. But again, since the water is going to be much cooler, if we do have one form too close to the United States for the Atlantic, it shouldn't strengthen extremely quick before it makes landfall on either Florida, Georgia, South Carolina, or North Carolina. So that's a good thing. If it does form, I mean, it's going to have some time if it form close. Now, if it form even further out into the Atlantic, it might have a little bit more time to get a little stronger, but it shouldn't be extremely strong until like a Cat 5 is slamming into Florida and then working its way up the coast. So with that being said, it's your boy, Arande, out.